Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, and in today's video, I'll be bringing you guys my official Week 9 game preview for Sunday's game between the Commanders and Giants. Y'all know how I do these videos. I first start off by talking about the injury report, then move on to keys to victory, and then finally I'll give y'all my final score prediction. But before we get to any of that, just want to thank y'all for getting me to 4,000 subscribers. I hit it yesterday, man, so really appreciate y'all. I wouldn't be where I'm at with my YouTube journey today if it wasn't for y'all. So appreciate each and every one of you who subs up to my channels, likes every video, comments, man. Y'all help me out a lot. Y'all help my channel out a lot. So appreciate y'all. And next up, let's get to 5,000 subs. So if you could hit that sub button if you're not already subbed up, I'd really appreciate it. And other than that, let's get straight into today's video. Starting with the injury report, of course, Cornelius Lucas, he's going to be out for this week, which is not a surprise. Hopefully he's back next week. However, we are getting Brandon Coleman back this week. He's going to be starting at left tackle for us, so that is really good. We won't have to start Trent Scott. Thank goodness that Brandon Coleman is back. Brian Robinson is our only guy questionable, and I think B-Rob, he should be good. Now that hamstring injury might be the reason why he was out for an extended period of time during the Bears game, but he was limited all week, so that is a good sign. He didn't miss a single day of practice. He practiced in some capacity all week, so I think B-Rob should be good for Sunday's game. And then everybody else you see on here, Cleveland Farrell, he's good to go. Frankie Louvu, who didn't practice these past 2 days, did practice today, which is really good. I was getting nervous yesterday, not gonna lie, but Dan Quinn said in his press conference that Frankie Louvu was feeling better each and every day, and he will be playing on Sunday, which is really good for us. And then Tyler Biadasz, Brandon Coleman, Jaden Daniels, Terry, and Olamide Zaccheaus, they are all good for Sunday's game. And on the Giants side, everybody's going to play for them except Bryce Ford Wheaton, Jamie Gillen, and Greg Joseph. Well, Wheaton is doubtful, but that usually means he's most likely not going to play. Their punter and kicker are out for this game, which is very weird, so they'll probably have to sign a punter or kicker off of the streets or from their practice squad. They actually do have a kicker off their practice squad. Forgot who his name is. But this is the second time where they're going to have kicker issues against us. Obviously, week 2, they had their punter kicking field goals because, what's his name? Graham Gano was missing that game. He got injured on the first play on the game, on the kickoff of that game, so he missed the rest of the game. So they had to have their punter kicking field goals for them. Well, now both their punter and their starting kicker will be out for this game. So special teams wise for the Giants, it's not looking good. And one of their best special teams contributors, Bryce Ford Wheaton, is most likely going to be out. So that's not good for the Giants. So that should be good for us, having their punter and kicker out for the game, man. That's going to be really good for us Sunday. But other than that, everybody else on the Giants injury report is good to go, including Tyrone Tracy, which I don't know how he passed concussion protocol so fast, but it is what it is, man. I'll talk about him in a bit, but that is it for the injury report for both teams. Key to victory number 1 for the offensive side of the ball: establish a run game early and often. The Giants' run defense is pretty bad, and need to be surprised by how bad it is because their front 7 actually has some talent. I mean, Dexter Lawrence, he's leading the charge. He is a man amongst boys, man. Dexter Lawrence, he's insane. He is a nose tackle and has 9 sacks on the year. I mean, that is just insane. I think that's more than our entire defensive line combined. And our defensive line has been playing better lately, but Dexter Lawrence, man, he's just been awesome. Like, he's been an amazing player, but he is leading the charge right there for the Giants defensive line. Obviously, on the edges, you have Brian Burns, Azeez Ojulari. Brian Burns, he's been pretty solid this season. Azeez Ojulari, he's done a good job of taking the place of Kayvon Thibodeaux. Thibodeau's obviously on IR, dealing with his injury still. He's probably going to come back in a couple weeks. And then as for their linebackers, they have Micah McFadden and Bobby Okereke, who are pretty solid for the most part as well. So the front 7 is pretty solid, and they can get after you in the pass game, which we'll talk about in a second. However, the run defense is pretty bad. They're giving up about 141 yards per game, so we got to take advantage of that. Obviously, we're one of the better run offenses in the NFL, averaging 165 yards a game on the ground, which is really good. Obviously, really good to have B-Rob back after he missed the Ravens game. He was really good against the Panthers and pretty solid last week against the Bears. Obviously, Austin Eckler is a really nice, reliever for Brian Robinson. He can get yards on the ground too. Same with Jeremy McNichols. McNichols is a really good running back 3. If we need him in the game, he can go out there, block. He's a really good pass blocker. We saw it against the Bengals and throughout several games this season as well. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can get good yardage on the ground when we need him to. And then obviously with Jaden and his legs, that's just lethal right there. And I feel like we'll do a good job of taking advantage of the Giants' poor run defense. And we need to if we want to win this game. And I feel like we will win this game. But one of the things that we have to do is establish a run game early, and we have to run it often. Key to victory number 2 for the offensive side of the ball. We got to protect Jaden, and we have to avoid giving the ball up. The Giants' defensive line, their front 7, I mentioned how good they are at getting to the quarterback, and they are amazing at getting to the quarterback. Probably the best team at getting to the quarterback. They have 35 sacks this season. That is the most by any team in its first 8 games since the 2017 Jaguars. And New York could be the 5th team in 20 years to get 4+ sacks in 5 straight games. I mean, that is just absurd right there. So they're great at getting to the quarterback, obviously led by Dexter Lawrence, who has 9 sacks on the season. I mean, do you know how crazy that is? Dexter Lawrence, he's a defensive tackle, but he's really a nose tackle. And he has 9 sacks on the year. 9 sacks on the year for a nose tackle who is 330 plus pounds. I mean, that's just insane. Dexter Lawrence, like I said, he's a man amongst boys. He is unbelievably good and probably is in the lead for the Defensive Player of the Year race. He's a really good guy. So we're going to be missing Cornelius Lucas this week, which is unfortunate. You know, that tandem between him and Coleman has been working all season long. But this is going to be a big test for Brandon Coleman this week, who is going to get the start at left tackle. Will probably play every single snap this week unless something goes horribly wrong. He should play every single snap this week at left tackle on Sunday versus the Giants. And he's going to be going up against Azeez Ojulari and Brian Burns. And I'm not going to lie, Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau did kind of have Brandon Coleman's number versus the Giants in week 2. So hopefully, you know, watch some film, went back, saw some mistakes he made in that game, how he could have blocked them better, and he improves on those mistakes. And Brandon Coleman has gotten better and better each and every week, and it's really good to see his development going pretty well. I mean, shoot, if Adam Peters got us our future left tackle or franchise left tackle in the 3rd round, that is just insane right there. So Brandon Coleman, he has developed nice so far this season. But, you know, this is going to be a huge test for him. Definitely going to have to do a good job of protecting Jaden, and especially with him still dealing with that ribs injury. I mean, Dexter Lawrence, he's a big dude. He's physical. All those guys on that line is physical. Dexter, Azeez, Brian Burns, even their linebackers with Okereke and McFadden. So all those guys are physical, so got to do a good job of blocking up front. Andrew Wiley, Sam Cosmi, Tyler Biadasz, Nick Allegretti, all y'all got to do a good job of protecting Jaden. And then turning the ball over. The Giants do not do a good job of really creating turnovers, so we shouldn't have too much of an issue of, you know, protecting the ball. We haven't had a lot of turnovers this season. I think we've only had like 2 or 3. I think it's actually 2 only, because Jaden, he has 2 interceptions, and I don't remember a time where we have fumbled the football. So we've only given the ball up like 2 times this season, and both of them are interceptions. They don't create a lot of interceptions. I think they have a couple of fumbles, but we should do a solid job of protecting the ball in this game, which would be really good. But once again, got to do a really good job of keeping Jaden clean. And then my last key to victory for the offensive side of the ball: move the ball on the Giants and score points in the red zone, and specifically touchdowns. We've got to do a better job of scoring touchdowns in the red zone. I mean, last week versus the Bears was already the 2nd time this season where we struggled mightily scoring touchdowns in the red zone. I mean, 2nd time, the 1st time was against the Giants in week 2 where we scored all field goals. Man, we couldn't score a single touchdown. We got down to the red zone a whole bunch of times, well, 7, 8 times, and we just couldn't score a single touchdown. Same thing last week with the Bears game. So got to do a better job of getting down to the end zone, or not the end zone, the red zone, and scoring touchdowns in the red zone. And the Giants' pass defense is actually pretty good. They are 8th in pass defense, only allowing 189.4 yards a game. However, I feel like a lot of that is on their pass rush, because when their pass rush is not getting there, their secondary doesn't do quite a great job of covering receivers. Like last week, George Pickens had a pretty good game against them. Van Jefferson, he got going. Russell Wilson, he had a really good game against the Giants on Monday Night Football. So you could definitely pass the ball on the Giants as long as their pass rush isn't getting there. And really, we have a quarterback, Jaden Daniels. I mean, JD is amazing at extending the play, finding opportunities to get the ball to his weapons, picking up first downs with his legs or with his arms. So I'm not too concerned about, the Giants' pass defense. I think we should be able to pass the ball on them, move the ball on them. Cliff, want to see you continue to cook, spread the ball around. Obviously, get the ball to Terry, Zach Ertz, who's had a really nice season so far, Noah Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, Luke McCaffrey, Ben Sinnott. Want to see Luke and Ben Sinnott get some more opportunities. That will be nice to see if they do get more opportunities. And obviously, Eckler, B-Rob, McNichols from the backfield. And then I want to see some design runs this week with Jaden. Obviously, the Giants D-line, that front seven, is very physical. They're pretty fast for the most part. But I do want to see some design runs with JD. And obviously, the ribs injury, I don't think it'll be for the remainder of the season. However, I think up until the bye week, it's going to bother him a little bit, which our bye week is week 14. And I hate that our bye week is week 14. And I wish it was much earlier. We could really use it right now with Cornelius Lucas injured, with JD still dealing with the ribs injury. So we could definitely use our bye week right now, but it is what it is, man. Hopefully the NFL doesn't give us another week 14 bye next week, but, it's what it is then. But we got to score touchdowns in the red zone, and we got to do a good job of moving the ball on the Giants. And I feel like we'll do both. And if we do both, then we should win this game. The game plan this week isn't too tough. However, we still got to execute it, and I feel like we will. Going over to the defensive side of the ball, key to victory number one for the defense, get pressure on Daniel Jones. Y'all know how bad Daniel Jones is, man. I mean, the Giants O-line has allowed 30 sacks this season, which is pretty bad, and we've done a great job of getting to the quarterback over the past couple of weeks versus the Panthers and versus the Bears last week. Now, obviously, Caleb, he did get out of the pocket multiple times. However, we did do a good job of making life pretty hard for him back there, getting pressure on him. Luvu did a good job. Obviously, Johnny Newton, he got his first sack last week, and other guys did as well. So, got to get pressure on Daniel Jones. And to be honest, I would say that if you get pressure on Daniel Jones, then he'll make mistakes. And obviously, he will, but he makes mistakes anyways. Like, pressure, no pressure. Daniel Jones, he's bad. And I don't want to hear, oh, Daniel Jones always plays well against us. He's really good against us. Look, that's done. I don't want to hear that anymore. Like, it's done at this point. Daniel Jones, he's not good. This team, compared to week 2, is different. A whole lot different, man. I'm not scared of Daniel Jones. He's not going to have a big day on us. I trust this defense. Joe Witt Jr. has done a great job of coaching this defense up. He did a great job of stopping Caleb Williams last week, the week before Andy Dalton. So if you can stop Caleb Williams last week, then I have no doubt that you can stop Daniel Jones this week and get pressure on him this week. So Frankie Luvu, obviously he's going to play, which is really good. He's going to do a good job of getting pressure on Daniel Jones. Obviously, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler Jr., Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, all those guys got to step up, and I feel like they will. So key to victory number one, get pressure on Daniel Jones, and that's where all the mistakes with him will start to appear. Key to victory number 2 for the defense, stop the Giants' run game. I don't know how, but Tyrone Tracy Jr., he's going to play this week, which is just very strange to me because he suffered a concussion on Monday night. He was in concussion protocol, and now he's been cleared, 4 days later? I mean, that's just weird to me. Usually, if a guy suffers a concussion, and all concussions are built differently, however, usually when a guy suffers a concussion, they're usually out for at least 1 week and then return the following week. So I'm not sure how Tyrone Tracy is returning so quickly, especially on a short week. I mean, the Giants don't have the usual 7 days to prepare for our game. They have 6 days since they played on Monday night. So shorter of a week, and he's still playing. I don't know how, but we got to stop him because he's been really good for the Giants over the past couple weeks, really since the Seahawks game from, I want to say, week 4 or week 5. Tyrone Tracy has been really good for the Giants. He's basically taken over that running back 1 spot for the Giants over Devin Singletary, who had a really good game versus us week 2, not going to lie. And we haven't done great at stopping the run. I think we're allowing 123 yards on the ground so far this season on average. DeAndre Swift, he had a really good game versus us last week. Honestly, we did a good job of stopping him in the first half. However, when he had that big run in the third quarter, that's kind of when the dam started to break, and that's when we were allowing all these good chunk yardage games on the ground for the Bears, well, against the Bears. So got to do a better job of stopping the run. I'm not that afraid of Tyrone Tracy Jr. I'm not afraid of Tyrone Tracy Jr. However, he can definitely run the ball on you, so we got to do a good job of stopping the run. Obviously, Deron Payne, Johnny Newton, those guys got to step up on the inside. Cleveland Farrell, he's done a really good job of stopping the run. Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, those guys have been great linebackers for us. It just feels so good to have real linebackers. They've done a good job of getting to the quarterback as well as stopping the run. So key to victory number 2, stop the run. And the key to victory number 3, I'm going to keep it short. If ball is life, let's create turnovers. I'm going to have that every single week, man. Shout out Joe Wood Jr. Obviously, you know, he started if ball is life, got to create turnovers. We did last week. The Bears obviously ran it with their offensive linemen on 4th and 1, or was it 3rd and 1? I think it was 3rd down or 4th down, whatever it was, in the red zone on the 1-yard line. He fumbled the ball. Johnny Newton, he recovered the ball. It was a great play by Johnny Newton there. And we've done a good job of turning over the ball over the past couple weeks versus the Panthers. We had 2 interceptions, and last week versus the Bears, we had 1 interception, or not 1 interception, a fumble recovery. And then versus the Browns back in week 5, we had a fumble recovery. Shout out to Louvu. He picked that up. Bobby Wagner was the one who forced it. So once again, if ball is life, let's create turnovers. We could get a pick this week. And Daniel Jones, obviously, he's going to give you opportunities to get a turnover off of him. So got to take advantage of those opportunities. So once again, one more time, if ball is life, let's create turnovers. And then as for my final score prediction, I have us winning this game, of course. 31-13, we got to handle business. Take care of business. The Giants are worse than us. They're not going anywhere this year. I'm not saying they want to lose games because no NFL team wants to lose games. It's not the NBA. No NFL team is actively tanking. However, we got to go up there, take care of business. The game plan this week should be simple. We just got to execute it. Obviously, last time when we played the Giants in week 2 at home, we won, but we scored all field goals. We got to do a better job of scoring touchdowns in the red zone. This week, I feel like if we don't score all the time in the red zone, specifically touchdowns, then we should be good because the Giants offense is pretty putrid, and our defense, I trust in Joe Witt, our pass rush, our secondary to take care of that Giants offense. Obviously, Malik Neighbors, he's a dog. However, he really hasn't done a whole lot since the Cowboys game in, I want to say, week 4 or week 5. So he hasn't done a whole lot, and it's week 9 now, 7 weeks later. We've gotten a lot better on defense. The Giants' offense is still bad. I mean, the Giants' offense, Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown at home since 2022, week 17 against the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, that is just insane, man. He hasn't thrown a touchdown at home in 2 years. Let's continue that streak, y'all. Let's do it. So, got us winning this game 31-13. Think Jaden's going to have a really good game. Think we're going to get the run game going. Think Cliff is going to do a good job of getting the ball to our weapons. And I think our defense is going to have a really nice performance. So, that is it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below. Subscribe, turn on notifications. Comment down below who you guys have winning Sunday's game between the Commanders and Giants. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.